What's up everyone, this is Alex from Father's Love, Father's Heal. So today I'm in the garden and I'm gonna pick all my garlic. This is a hardneck variety and it's the end of June and the bottom 3 leaves are starting to die off. So it's time to pick all this awesome garlic. Let me show you up close what it looks like when the leaves start dying back. So right here is an example of the garlic when it's about ready to be picked. The bottom 3 leaves are dried off and died. This one is starting to dry off. Not all of them are completely dried off, but for the most part, I planted all these at the same time, so they're about ready to be picked. I already picked a few, and I interplanted potatoes with my garlic, so there's potatoes. So I have to be careful when I dig the garlic up. I don't dig the potatoes up because the potatoes aren't ready yet. And once I do that, I'm going to put a layer of compost on top, and I'm going to plant some onions and cucumbers right after this, so I get to use this for a second harvest. Also make sure with your garlic, I know I missed a couple, your garlic will shoot out these garlic scapes here, and you want to make sure you pop these off. It looks like I missed a couple. And you can eat these. I've been making a pesto out of these. You can dry them, make garlic salt, or you can pickle them. But if you leave these on, your garlic will put energy into the garlic scapes and not the bulb inside. So make sure once you see those forming, you go through and pick them all. So I'm going to go through and pick all this, and we'll see how much garlic I have. Now to pick the garlic, you want to make sure that you don't damage the bulb inside. So you're just going to be a couple of inches back from the garlic. Stick your shovel or trowel in there and just kind of work it while you pull up. And shake off the dirt. And that is your awesome garlic. So let's go through these 2 beds and pick all of them. Okay, I got the 2 beds cleared out. I ended up not using my trowel because my soil's so soft from all the years of compost, the garlic just popped right up. So I'm going to put a layer of fresh compost on top. I'm going to try to hill these potatoes up. While I was picking the garlic, I pulled a little bit of potatoes, but no big deal. And I will plant onions behind that and some bush cucumbers. So let me show you my garlic harvest. This is the best harvest I've ever had. Look at all this garlic. This is just 2 raised beds. Here's a couple of these potatoes. I pulled just about 100 bulbs from the ground. Some of them were bigger than the other ones, so the biggest ones I'm going to keep and replant those next year so I don't have to buy any more. But luckily I pulled them because some of them, this is what happens when you leave them in the ground too long. The garlic bulbs pop. Now I can still use this fresh, but I won't be able to dry this. So these I will put in the kitchen and I will use these fresh. So garlic is one of the easiest crops in my opinion to grow. I barely even watered these beds. I didn't do much of anything. I put the bulbs in, and I put that in November, and I'm coming back into June and I have all this garlic. I'm going to cure it in my basement for about 4 to 6 weeks. I just put it in my basement because that's the only place I have where it gets no sunlight. There's differing opinions where keep it in a cool place, keep it in a warm place. I've cured mine in the basement for years and it works just fine. And one thing you want to make sure is you don't want any sunlight. So they don't resprout and try to regrow again. So you want to keep it in the dark place, and some of the scapes that I missed, you break the scapes off. But that's pretty much it. This should be enough for a year. I'm going to take the best bulbs, the biggest and best ones, and I'm going to replant those for next year. And you do that year over year, and eventually you'll have just a whole solid crop of massive garlic, because you weed out the ones that don't get that big. So like this one I'll keep. This is a nice looking one. But yeah, garlic, if you've never planted garlic, definitely give it a shot. You will be very happy with the result. Usually the first year you planted your biggest ones, the best ones, you want to save for the next year. Last couple years I've bought them because I ran out and I just wanted to use them in the winter time, because there's nothing like the fresh garlic. So I usually can never make it that far, but if you can, more power to you. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to get some rope and we're going to tie these up and hang them in the basement. I got some rope here. Now, what I usually do, because people do this weave, these pretty weave patterns for your garlic, and I just can't figure it out. So I'll just get some rope, get a big bundle of it around the same size. Because I'm just going to lay this in my basement on a shelf. I just want to keep them a little bit separated. So I'll just tie them up in a bundle, make it nice and easy. Cut the rope. And that's it. It's got a bundle of garlic. So I'll go through and do the same thing with all the garlic. So I have all the garlic cleared out. It's in my basement, so that's ready to cure. I'm going to do some candy onions and some sweet onions and some watermelon in this bed. Now the watermelon's going to spread out. I'll every couple days come out and try to keep the vines contained. I know I won't be able to, and it'll kind of spread out all over the place, but that's fine because I love watermelon. That's about 83 days to harvest, so I should have enough time left in the season to harvest some fresh watermelon. I'm going to do bush cucumbers through here, and I'll probably interplant some onions. So I have about 4 weeks, 5 weeks for the potatoes start dying back, and I can harvest those. I have a whole bed of potatoes here, and probably in about 3 weeks, it's the end of June, so probably about 2 weeks, I'm going to start all of my broccoli and brassicas again for the fall harvest. So let me get into planting all the onions. Okay, so I have all my onions in, my bush cucumbers, my watermelon, my different types of melons, all mixed into this bed. It just goes to show you how much food you can produce, and these are just 2 small raised beds. I have enough garlic probably for a year, and then on top of that I have potatoes in this bed and potatoes in that bed, and I'm going to have another crop of fruit and cucumbers and onions. So it's just a constant feeding my soil, harvesting food. And all I did was put 2 inches of compost on top. And after years of doing that, you're just going to build amazing quality soil. While I was pulling up the garlic, it was just full of life. I just was pulling up worms and different bugs, and just full of life. And it's very interesting for me to see what you can do and what you can grow in such a small space. If you don't have a space where you can grow like me, you can also do container gardening. But if you have property and you're growing grass, I advise you change that and you try to grow some food, because it's very fulfilling. So you don't have to use any fertilizers, you don't have to use any rock dust, you don't have to use any amendments. All you need to do is compost. If it's not a root crop, like I picked peas over here, all I did was cut the peas flush to the ground, put 2 inches of compost on top of that. And year after year of doing that, you're going to see just the quality of your soil just every year produce more and more food. So try to grow something at home. You won't be disappointed. I hope you like this video and grow that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you at the next one.